Good afternoon, students. Today we cover 4.3 on the syllabus, which is about expenditure. This whole section have to do with how spendings, savings and borrowings, or it is about that. But before we can look at how people spend and why they spend and what their motives is of spending, and the same for savings and the same for borrowings, we must first look at the different income groups, because different income groups react differently when they spend, when they save and when they borrow. So to understand this, we must all come to more or less the same conclusion, that if I talk about low income group, then you know more or less what income group I have in mind. So according to our tax brackets in Namibia, the lowest income group that are not taxed is those who earn 50,000 and less. So if you earn anything in a year which is 50,000 and less, you can see it's a little bit more than 4,000 a month. If you earn that, then you are considered a low income group, because the government have decided that they don't tax this group. Okay, then also the highest tax in Namibia is 37%. Now this 37% tax is only tax on people that earn more than 1.5 million per year. So you can see from that you must earn more than 100,000 a month. And if you earn that, you will earn more or less 1.2 million. So then you are not yet in this group. So it is a lot of money that you must earn per month before you are taxed at 37%. So for our purposes, we will consider that high income group people in our country is considered those who earn more than 1.5 million per year. So the rest, which earn between the 50 and the 1.5 million, we consider the middle income group. You see, it's a very wide, big group. But now, from now on, we will discuss, if we talk about low income group, you will know, I mean those who earn less than 50,000. Now, if we look at what is savings, because if I ask you how do the low income group save, you must first know what is savings. Savings is that part of your income that you don't spend, that you put aside. There may be different reasons for it. We will look at the reasons. But that is the money that you keep aside and don't use. This is the examples of savings. There's a lot of examples. You can put it in a normal saving account, in your bank account. Your current account is the account in the bank, in your bank account, which you put money in and withdraw daily. But then you can have a separate account, which you call your savings account, where you put money that you don't want to use that month. And then you can also have a fixed deposit account at a bank. That can be 3 months fixed deposit, 6 months, 12 months. It means that that money is fixed. You can't take it out of the bank after the 3 months pass or after the 6 months pass. If you want to take it out, you will pay a fee for doing that. I mean, if you want to take it out before the 3 months is over. So that is examples of savings. You also get other forms of savings. You can save at the post office. You can save money by buying shares in companies and not earn interest like you earn in a bank. You can earn dividends on savings. You can also save money by buying treasurables from the government, or they call it government bonds. And then on that you also earn interest. So that there is a lot of ways or examples to save. You can also save money. Some people put just their money in a tin and keep it for when they need it in, or under the mattress. Some people also save their money. Okay, so we have looked at what savings is and forms of savings. Now if we look at spendings, what is that? You take remember we have talked about our net income, which is our disposable income, which we have available to use. Now if our net income is $1 and we decide to spend to save 20 cents, then it means what we have left to spend is 80 cents. So of every $1, if you save 20 cents, you have available as disposable income to spend 80 cents. Now you can do it on the amount you earn. If you earn 10,000, then you spend 8,000 and 2,000 you save. But that is, what is spendings? It's that part of your income that you spend on goods and services to satisfy firstly your needs and then your wants. You remember when we have started with the syllabus, we have explained to you what a want and a need is. So that is on what we spend our goods and services. But we don't only spend it to satisfy our wants and needs. You will see we do it on food, which is basically a need. But some food can also be a want, like hot chocolate. That is definitely not a need. So that is a want. We spent it on fuel, we spent it on school fees, and we spent it on a holiday. Now, a holiday is also a want. So you see, certain things is wants and certain things is on which you spend your disposable income. Certain things is needs. Okay, then lastly, we look at borrowings. If you, for example, have no money that you have saved somewhere that you have available to use, but your car broke down, then what will you do to repair that car? If you don't have enough disposable income, after you have paid everything you need to pay monthly, there's also nothing on a saving account. What is your options? Your options is to borrow money. Where can you borrow money? You can borrow money from banks, or you can borrow it from friends or family or other financial institutions. Okay, so in a case of a bank, when we look at a car that broke down, you will go to the bank and you will arrange an overdraft. That is a short-term loan. It means you go to the bank manager and you ask if you can go in overdraft, if you can spend more money than you have put into your account, because you need to pay for the repairs of your car. But in another case, if you want to borrow money to buy a car because your car was in an accident and can't be repaired, then you go to the bank and you arrange for a loan. And this type of loans is normally that you buy cars on is normally hire purchases. So you get the use of the car, you can use the car, and you pay monthly the bank back to use that car. And that is also a type of loan. The same is if you want to buy a house, you can arrange with the bank to get a mortgage where you can borrow money and pay the house over 25 years or 20 years back. So that is a type of long-term loan. Just like the hire purchase for the car, it's also long-term because it's longer than a year that you pay it back. But for every loan, it doesn't matter if you get it from the bank or from your friends or from your family. It's advisable to draw up a contract in which you sign how you will pay it back. Then both parties are clear on this agreement. And then secondly, nobody or very few people will borrow you money if you don't offer security. The bank will not offer you money. Financial institutions will not offer you money, offer you money in form of loans, if you don't offer security. So security can be something like, say for example, I need to start a business, but I need $1 million to start the business. And now I go to the bank and I ask the bank, I want to take out or up a loan, a long-term loan of 1 million, and I explain to them in a business proposal why I need 1 million and how I plan to pay it back. And then the bank will ask me for security. So normally what people then do, they give their house as security. And that means if you don't pay the bank back, the bank will sell your house to pay for that loan. So you will much easier get loans if you can give very valuable securities. The more securities you have to offer, the quicker you will get the loans, the bigger loans you will get. And if you offer securities, and it is very valuable securities, the bank also will give normally your loans at a lower interest rate. Now, you hear that I'm talking about interest rate again. In the case of where you save money, the bank, you receive interest from the bank. But in the case of borrowings, you use the bank's money or your family's money or your friend's money. So for using that, you must pay them something. And what you pay them is interest. And this interest we call the price of money. Okay, so what we do next is we divide the class in groups of 4, like normally. I want you to work together in these groups. Each of you will take a A4 page. You will divide it in 3 columns and 3 horizontal lines. And then or as you call it, rows. So we have 3 columns, which we mark clearly. And we mark them high income, low income, middle income, or we can start rather with low income, middle income, high income, that we all have the same. And then the rows you also have in 3 columns, and you mark them savings, spending, and borrowings. And then you will answer the following questions in each of these blocks. How a low-income person save, how a low-income person spend, and how a low-income person borrow. Now, if you look at a low-income person, it's difficult for them to open a bank account. That's the first problem. If they can do it, they don't only have not access to it, but sometimes they don't have the knowledge and the literacy to do that. So to open a saving account is not always possible for them. Secondly, low-income people can save money in post offices. That is normally easier for them. And others just save it in a tin or under the mattress. That is their way of saving. Some people, I don't know if you have heard about stokvels, then you have 10 friends or family together. Each of them contribute $100 a month to the stokvel, and then this $1,000 which you receive from every member will then be given to one member every month. So that's a way of also saving money. Okay, if we look at low income and we say on what do they spend? They very little spend on wants. What they spend on is needs. They spend on basic clothes that they need, say like school clothes, like one pair of shoes, one jacket, and it is bought normally from places like, which is not very expensive. In our country, we will say places like Mr. Price or Ackermans or Pep stores. That is where they normally buy from. The clothes is all needs. Then their food will also be needs. Mostly it will be maize or pasta or bread, and then it will be, they will have tea normally and sugar normally, and then with that they will have vegetables sometimes and fruit sometimes. But it's very basic. Oil and flour is also for them a need. So that is normally the food, examples of food that they spend money on. For low income groups, they borrow money normally from friends or family. They can't go to the bank and borrow money because they can't offer security. And why can't they offer security? Because they don't have assets that they can offer as security. They do have assets, but not assets which they can offer as security. Okay, now exactly in the same way you discuss the middle income and you discuss the high income. You take them one by one and you say how these people spend their money, why they spend it like that. So, and how they save their money, and how they borrow money, and why they do it like that. So, in the case of middle income, they don't only spend food. When they spend on food, they don't only spend it on needs, they spend it on wants. They buy chocolate, they normally once in a week they buy takeaways. That you can see there's wants involved here. They also sometimes, if they buy clothes, they don't only buy from Pep stores, they also buy from Edgar's, and they buy clothes with brand names on it. So you see, this is how middle income spend their money. They don't spend oftenly, as in the low income, they will spend for transport on taxi fees. But middle income also spend a bit on taxi fees, but normally these families have one car, sometimes two cars. So they spend on fuel and repairs and paying back their car. So you can see it's a little bit different. And then where do they borrow money? They can borrow money, but they can borrow money in the form of overdrafts or car loans, or they can borrow money on houses, but normally small mortgages. Because the house loan or any loan that the bank gives you, they also look at your income to decide, are you able to pay it back? Will you be able to pay it back? So they get loans for houses and they get for cars, but it's much smaller amounts than in the case of high income, the high income group. So if we look at the high income group, they spend also on needs, but very little. Most of their food are on wants. If they buy meat, it's the best cuts of meat. If they buy chicken, it's organic. If they buy eggs, it's organic. They get it. They buy really what they want. They much more eat in restaurants, and that is the way they spend on food. Then on savings, a high income group also save. They save mostly in shares, in other businesses they invest, and then get part of the profits. They also save in fixed deposits and in treasure bills, but mostly they save in other businesses. Then you get high income groups, as I already have touched, because they have lots and lots of assets to offer as security. They can borrow huge amounts of money in form of loans, and they pay much lower interest than we or the rest in the middle and low income group pay. Okay, the next slide is classwork. There's some questions on savings. You must use your textbook and the internet to answer this. And all these questions on savings, and then you will also get questions on spendings, which you will answer in the same way. And then also questions on borrowings. These are some 2 mark, 1 mark, 6 mark questions, and that will help you to get an overall knowledge and test your knowledge on savings, spendings, and borrowings. You also have a homework mark, which is on what factors mentioned in the article given influence the middle income groups when they decide to buy furniture or not. Okay, and then the last part of this unit is a class discussion where you look on how spendings have changed over the last 70 years and how you think it will change in the next 30 years. So you can talk to the students, you as the teacher, and you and the students can think of ideas. You will just think of many years ago, there wasn't even something like checks. All transactions was cash. Then we got checks, which we don't use in Namibia anymore, but in other countries, there's other countries that they still use it, which they use as a form of payment. And nowadays, we mostly work on cards, debit cards, credit cards, and very little on cash. We make electronic payments, we EFT, we swipe our cards. That is things that wasn't there before. And you know, before that, and still today, people can also get the goods and services they want and need by bartering. Exchange your service for a good that you want. Now, how this will change in the future can be, you can look at it and you can say, for example, people are too worried about fraud on the internet, so they will all go back to barter and to using cash. That is just my idea. Other people may say, no, it will completely be wireless money. There will be no cash involved. So that is just ideas which you can share with each other. That is for today. If you have any questions on this, you can anytime contact us.